What the hell do you think you're doing? That's what Jake Thornton said the moment he rode up on his horse and saw her, a young pregnant woman, alone in the middle of nowhere, hammering together a shelter made of rotting plywood and rusted nails. She looked up at him, dirt smeared across her face, sweat dripping down her forehead, and said something that would haunt him for the rest of his life. "I'm building a home for my baby." Jake didn't know it yet, but that moment would change everything, not just for her, not just for him, but for an entire town that had forgotten what it meant to care. This is that story. Jake Thornton wasn't the kind of man who stuck his nose in other people's business. He ran a cattle ranch on the outskirts of Red Creek, Montana, a town so small you could blink and miss it. He kept to himself, worked hard, and didn't ask questions. But that morning, something felt off. He was riding the fence line on the eastern edge of his property when he saw smoke rising from the old Miller land, a patch of dirt that had been abandoned for years. At first, he thought it was a wildfire, but as he got closer, he realized it wasn't smoke. It was dust. Someone was out there. He spurred his horse forward, and that's when he saw her. A woman, maybe 25, maybe younger, kneeling in the dirt, trying to prop up a wall made of broken boards. Her belly was swollen. She was pregnant. Very pregnant. And she was completely alone. Jake pulled his horse to a stop and stared. The shelter she was building was barely 4 walls. No roof, no door. Just scraps of wood held together with hope and desperation. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" he called out. She flinched, dropped the hammer, and turned to face him. Her eyes were wide, scared. But there was something else there too, defiance. "I'm building a home," she said quietly. Jake looked at the pile of junk around her, splintered boards, bent nails, a tarp with holes in it. "That's not a home," he said. "That's a death trap." She didn't respond, just picked up the hammer and went back to work. Her name was Emma Calloway, and she had nowhere else to go. Jake didn't learn that right away. At first, she wouldn't talk to him, wouldn't even look at him, but he didn't leave. He sat on his horse, watching her struggle, and something inside him wouldn't let him ride away. Finally, he dismounted. "You got a name?" he asked. She hesitated. "Emma. Emma, I'm Jake. I own the land next door. And I'm telling you right now, you can't stay here." "Why not?" she shot back. "It's abandoned. No one's using it." "Because you're gonna die out here," Jake said bluntly. "You're pregnant. You got no water, no electricity, no shelter. What happens when that baby comes?" Emma's jaw tightened. "I'll figure it out." "Like hell you will." She turned on him then, eyes blazing. "You don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. So don't stand there and tell me what I can and can't do." Jake held up his hands. All right. I'm not trying to fight you. I'm just saying, this isn't safe." Emma's shoulders sagged. For a moment, she looked like she might cry, but she didn't. She just turned back to her pile of boards and kept working. Jake watched her for a long moment. Then he made a decision. "I'll be back," he said, and he rode off. 2 hours later, Jake came back. But he wasn't alone. He had a truck, a flatbed loaded with lumber, tools, tarps, and supplies. And he had his ranch hand, a guy named Carlos, riding shotgun. Emma looked up when she heard the engine. Her face went pale. "What are you doing?" she asked. Jake hopped out of the truck. "What does it look like?" "I'm helping you build a shelter." "I didn't ask for your help." "I know, but you need it." Emma crossed her arms. "I don't take charity." "Good," Jake said. "Because this isn't charity. This is common sense. You want to build a shelter? Fine, but you're going to do it right." He started unloading the lumber. Carlos followed. Emma just stood there, frozen. "You gonna help?" Jake called over his shoulder. "Or you gonna stand there and watch?" Emma hesitated. Then, slowly, she picked up a hammer. They worked until sundown. Jake and Carlos framed out the walls. Emma helped where she could, holding boards, handing over nails, fetching water from Jake's truck. She didn't say much, but Jake could see the gratitude in her eyes. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, They had 4 solid walls and a roof frame. "We'll come back tomorrow," Jake said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Finish the roof, put in a door, maybe a window." Emma nodded. "Thank you." Jake shrugged. "Don't mention it." But as he drove away, he couldn't stop thinking about her. Who was she? Why was she out here alone? And where was the father of that baby? The next day, Jake came back with more supplies. This time, Emma was waiting for him. "I need to tell you something," she said. Jake set down the toolbox. "All right." Emma took a deep breath. "I ran away. From my ex. He was hurting me. And when I told him I was pregnant, he said he'd kill me if I didn't get rid of it." Jake's jaw clenched. "So you left." "I had to. I didn't have anywhere to go. No family, no friends. I just drove until I ran out of gas, and I ended up here." Jake was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "You did the right thing." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Did I? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to raise a baby. I don't even know if I can keep us alive." "You can," Jake said firmly, "and you will, because you're not alone anymore." Emma looked at him, surprised. "I'm not going to let you do this by yourself," Jake said. "We're going to finish this shelter, and then we're going to figure out the rest." Word spread fast in Red Creek. Jake mentioned Emma's situation to a few people at the hardware store. By the end of the week, half the town had shown up to help. Mrs. Patterson brought blankets and baby clothes. Old Man Briggs donated a wood stove. The church ladies organized a food drive. Even the sheriff stopped by to make sure Emma was safe. Emma couldn't believe it. "Why are they doing this?" she asked Jake. "Because that's what people do," Jake said. "When someone needs help, you help them." But not everyone was happy. One night Jake got a call. It was Emma. She was crying. "He found me," she said. Jake's blood ran cold. "Who?" "My ex. He's here. He's outside." Jake didn't hesitate. He grabbed his shotgun, jumped in his truck, and drove like hell. When he got there, he saw a man pounding on the door of Emma's shelter, screaming her name. Jake got out of the truck, shotgun in hand. "Get off my property," Jake said. The man turned. He was big, angry, drunk. "This is none of your business," the man snarled. "It is now," Jake said. "You got 5 seconds to leave, or I'm calling the sheriff." The man took a step forward. Jake raised the shotgun. "Try me," Jake said. The man stared at him for a long moment. Then he spat on the ground and walked away. 3 weeks later, Emma went into labor. Jake drove her to the hospital, stayed with her the whole time, and when the baby was born, a healthy baby girl, Emma looked at Jake and said, "I'm naming her Hope." Jake smiled. "That's a good name." A year later, Emma and Hope were still in Red Creek. The shelter had been expanded into a real house. Emma had a job at the local diner, and Jake? He stopped by every Sunday for dinner. "You saved my life," Emma told him one night. Jake shook his head. "No, you saved your own life. I just gave you some lumber." Emma smiled. "Well, thank you, for the lumber and for everything else." Jake tipped his hat. "Anytime." So what do you think? Would you have done what Jake did, or would you have kept riding? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story touched you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories like this one. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes all it takes is a little kindness to change someone's life.